You once again stepped into the world of survival horror. Good luck. Alright, welcome back to Resident Evil 2 Leon Scenario B. We are in the sewers, trying to get away, trying to find a way to get Ben out of jail. See how that goes. But anyway, this is, I think, is this, no, Claire comes here too. I was thinking maybe this is a new area, but it's not. This is a new area. Claire does not go in here. Claire wait, does Claire go? No, she doesn't go into the sewers. Yeah, I don't know what I'm thinking. Thank God that this, puzzle, the chess piece puzzle, isn't nearly as annoying as it is in Resident Evil 2 Remake. Oh my god. No matter how many times I play that game, I can never remember the combination, like, what those are supposed to be. So, I always spend so much time doing that.
Ada? I don't think I've introduced myself yet. My name's Leon. I'm with the RPD. It's a dead end.
You think we can get upstairs through this shaft? Give me a boost. I'll go and check. How cute. That little girl must have dropped this. I think I'll hold on to it for her.
So, right over here, we got a nice little picture of Ada and her boyfriend, presumably. In the last video, I do believe that I said Sally Cahill is probably my favorite Ada voice. She was the voice in this game and in Resident Evil 4. I think probably one of the Chronicles games, too. She was Ada for a while. I think she has the best sound for Ada. She sounds mysterious and strong. She was also the voice of Ada in Resident Evil, whatever the second to last movie in the W.S. Anderson movies was. Li Bingbing played her physically, like, in person, but Sally Cahill overdubbed all of her dialogue, which I think is really strange. But yeah, she's technically the only person in any of the Resident Evil games to reprise her role in any of the movies. Live-action movies, anyway. So yeah, playing as Ada, basically exactly the same as playing as Sherry, except you have a gun. I probably could have just ran by the enemies, but, you know, it's not like we have to conserve our ammo as Ada. We're never really going to be playing as Ada again. So, might as well just not even bother. This is one strength that the remake has over the original, which is that in the remake, you go completely different areas. Like, I would say, like, maybe the remake is kind of adapting this part when you're playing as Ada, kind of, sort of. It's kind of its own new thing. But Sherry has a completely different playable section where you're in the orphanage. So they're not really comparable, but it is better. Rather than, you know, both of the secondary playable characters in the scenarios are, you know, just doing the exact same thing across both stories. I think the only difference is that Ada and Sherry start in different locations, which is kind of silly.
Leon, can you hear me?
Ada, did you find anything?
Right here. Hey, I can't reach the ventilation hole. I'm going to have to find another way around. I'll catch up with you later.
What? Ada, wait!
Leon, come in. I found the girl, and I've cleared the wreckage that was blocking the corridor.
Got it.
I don't think I talked about this in this playthrough yet. At least I don't think so. If I did, I'm sorry. But I'm very excited about the third-person mode in Resident Evil 8. Like, that's going to be a lot of fun. And I know I played that last year. Or I guess this year? Did I do that in December? No. I think I did that in January, so it was technically this year. But I played it physically last year. But I uploaded them in this year. But I'll definitely be doing another playthrough of Resident Evil Village in third person. I think that'll be a lot of fun. Do that on Village of Nightmares, or Village of Shadows, whatever the highest difficulty is. We'll do that in third person, and we'll have some fun with that. Also, definitely, I might... My Halloween plans have changed this year. I was originally going to do a co-op game with Hank after this, so I left room open in my upload schedule for November, and I don't have anything scheduled there right now. But then I realized there's another game that we have not finished, Hank and I never finished on this channel, that I want to go back and finish, and it's Halloween themed, and there's a sequel to that game coming out at the end of this month, you know, October. So we're going to be finishing up something else pretty fun after I'm done with Resident Evil 2, which still leaves November open. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to do the DLC for Resident Evil 8, like the new Rose stuff. I think I'm going to do that in November and just keep the Halloween festivities going. It's just going to be an elongated Halloween month. So obviously what we want to do here is not get, you know, absolutely thwacked in the head by the lickers, so use your spooky side step walk where you just inch forward on the controller very mildly and they'll never hear you. It's like you're invisible. This video, I think, has the most amount of like complicated stuff in it, if I'm not mistaken. Like I remember getting I remember having to practice this part a couple different times to get all the like sequence of events down and remember everything that I'm supposed to do. So this is the result of the zapping mechanic. Since Claire took the gun last time, we now take the side pack. So that is the results of our efforts in Claire's playthrough. Although we don't need any of that ammo, we will take some Magnum bullets. We're going to pick up as many Magnum bullets across this playthrough as we could possibly stomach. And we're going to be needing them sooner than you think. Because we are, I would say, probably halfway done with Leon's story now. Who were these guys? These guys weren't here before. I thought I killed all you. Just keep going. You know, I'm constantly, like, really shocked at how good this game still looks. Like, up close, that guy's butt, like, it's a pretty clear texture. Like, the character model looks good. The textures are pretty clean. I don't know if the GameCube... I think the Dreamcast... I think I talked about this before, but I think the Dreamcast version is still supposed to look the best. And I think this is based on the Dreamcast version or something like that. I don't exactly 100% remember. But, yeah, it's a good-looking game, and I still... It's baffling to me that Capcom has not released a classic collection of these games. up-res them somewhat. You know, you can probably easily remaster these. Maybe change some settings to make it more accessible for newcomers. Like a different control scheme or something like that. But, yeah, I think it's kind of weird that they've never really tried that. Shocked this area wasn't refilled with enemies. Usually they put, like, new enemies every single place that you go after you hit, like, a certain point in the RPD where they're just like, alright, we know you cleared this out, but here's some more guys. So once again, my plan of picking up every single herb in the game is going well. So far, I don't think I've left a single one behind. I am still making sure that I have enough room in my inventory, though. This is another great way to screw with the player's expectations. This is great. We already did this exact puzzle in Claire's scenario, so we have some sort of an expectation as to what's going to happen here. We know, okay, that's going to fall down. But now, Mr. X bursts through the window, which I think is pretty cool. You know, that's another pretty classic Resident Evil 2 moment, where I feel like everyone knows about it. It's like the liquor jump scare through the window. That one's just as iconic. But sometimes I still forget about it, and I still get a little spooked by it, but not this time. So you can see on one of those boards right there, it says Red Rum, for whatever reason. Obviously a reference to The Shining. In-universe, I don't exactly know what the point would be to write Red Rum on one of those boards. So I am actually about to... I'm not going to get lost, but I'm going to forget what to do. And I know I said I practiced this so many times. I'm pretty knowledgeable about Resident Evil 2. But even then, even I still can get lost sometimes. I'm allowed to have that happen once per playthrough, okay? I did a flawless run-through of Resident Evil 1, which is far harder than Resident Evil 2. And I would say pretty damn flawless run-through of Claire's Scenario A. I'm allowed to get lost once. Okay? Give me a break. You saw it, that's what that crossfade was there when Leon was just standing still. That was me trying to get my bearings. I mean, obviously this has been talked to death, but Mr. X, the Tyrant, really is one of the best things that Resident Evil 2 Remake ever did. Like, Mr. X, I'm gonna go ahead and say, not all too memorable in this game. Like, he pops up and he kind of chases you, and he leaves you alone for most of the time in this game. He's not really something that you have to face too often. So he's not super memorable. Nemesis is obviously a lot more memorable in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. But the remake, making him just a persistent threat, something that you always have to worry about. You know, someone who can interrupt you while you're doing puzzles or fighting other enemies. He could be anywhere in the RPD, is just way more interesting than... Yeah, he has a few areas that he's scripted to come in. And that is, look, I will defend Resident Evil 3 Remake till the day I die. It's a fun game. I enjoy it. But yeah, if they just had more sections where Nemesis was chasing you, it would be... I would like it more than Resident Evil 2 Remake. As of right now, they're like probably on the same level. But yeah, man, if there were just more sections where Nemesis was chasing you, that game would be, I think, a little bit above Resident Evil 2 Remake. We are following pretty closely behind Claire. Obviously, since the B scenario is always like way more truncated, time isn't moving quite the same as it is for Leon than it did for Claire, because Claire, this was probably like halfway through her playthrough, which was 9 videos, and it's halfway through Leon's, where it's 7 videos, so Leon has gotten here in a much shorter amount of time than Claire did. This is probably my favorite moment here. I love this. Just before you even open the door, you know, oh boy, he's in here somewhere. And this is such a closed off, like, narrow area that if I was playing this normally, this would be a pretty difficult, you know, fight for Mr. X. And now, I knew that he had Magnum bullets there, because just in the practice, every time I dropped Mr. X, I would take the, whatever he dropped, so I knew what he was dropping at each point. So I knew that's really the only one that I'm interested in, is the Magnum bullets that he drops there. So I'm not just that good at the game that I remember what he dropped. That was trial and error. Yeah, Mr. X, he's pretty cool. Not as cool as he is in the remake, unfortunately. But he is still, he plays a pretty cool part in this game, I would have to say still. So we're building up quite a collection of Magnum bolts here. Magnum bolts? Magnum bullets? What am I talking about? But anyway, that is it for this video, where we got, honestly, a lot done. I know sometimes it doesn't look like it, but we really did get a lot done. So, I will see you in the next video.